Now, Liverpool legend Ian Rush was part of some formidable teams during his career and scored a record number of goals. But his latest goal might be more important, or the most important of all. He has teamed up with the Shabra Charity Foundation and the Mater Hospital to encourage people to get screened to check if they're predisposed to a whole range of genetic defects which can lead to sudden adult death syndrome.
We're very happy to say that Ian joins us now to tell us more, along with Rita Shah from the Shabra Charity Foundation, who have raised a staggering amount of money. They've raised €600,000 for the charity. And we're also joined by Dr. Peter O'Gorman from the Mater Hospital. You're both very welcome. Three of you, all very welcome.
Yes,
Ian, incredible, huge welcome to you. We would love to talk about football, and we could do ad nauseum all day, but you're here under a different guise. You're here to talk about the charity and why you're a patron for it. So how did you get involved, Ian?
Well, Rita's like family to us, really. You know, I think she tells me all about Oliver. You know, I wasn't lucky enough to meet Oliver, but for me, when she's saying what was happening and everything, for me, it's just great to lend a hand. Anything I can do. I was lucky enough. I played football for a great club and everything, but to try and give something back is on the least I could do, really, because I see it's a bit like grassroots in football. You know, you got to start at the bottom and work your way up, and it just helps for the future as well.
But you must get so many people knocking on your door saying, Ian, would you help us with this? Would you help us for that? What was it particularly about Rita's story that compelled you to get involved?
Well, I think it's just the way she goes about things and everything. You know, when she's always looking to help other people, not herself, no, but also other people. And she keeps talking about Oliver and everything. You know, and I like race horses as well. You know, and everything.
Something common in us.
Yeah. So basically, you know, just
it
anything.
Was a good fit.
Yeah, it was absolutely great fit.
Yeah.
So don't know too much about the science and everything, but anything that Rita says and what we can help, go a long way.
Well, Rita, we'll get to you in a moment, if you don't mind. Pardon me for being a little ungallant. I'm going to get to the science bit now with Dr. Peter O'Gorman. Peter, when they mapped the human genome, we were told, and I think it got a Nobel Science Prize, etc., we were told that this was possibly one of the most important breakthroughs in science, and that it was going to change how an awful lot of things were done, particularly medicine and particularly treatment of, human ailments. This is a direct manifestation of that, this technology.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that sparked a revolution in DNA sequencing, which is the process that we go through to identify driver mutations or mutations that cause disease. So what's happened since the Genome Project is now that we have very complex, rapid throughput, robot-controlled, high-tech, next-generation sequencing equipment that can very quickly sequence and identify the mutation in a matter really of days.
In very simplistic form, this is a way of doing a snag list on a human being before they get going or before the snags arrive.
Yes, exactly. So, as I said, we now have the state-of-the-art equipment in the Mater Hospital. Our goal is to focus on our patient cohorts, starting with cardiology and sudden adult death syndrome. We know there are 300 or 400 genes that will detect mutations. 50 patients die of sudden cardiac death in this country every year. 30% of those will have mutations that can be passed on through the generations. So our task really is to quickly work through the waiting list, identify the mutations, and then work out what intervention is required. So, for example, if there's a high-risk mutation, you need to insert an implantable defibrillator that will prevent death. And we'll be screening and preventing disease across many generations.
Can you switch off the dangerous gene or the aberrant gene? Is that possible?
We don't yet have that gene, editing technology. It is available in the test tube. At some point, it will become available. For now, we identify the gene, we know the risk, and we know what to do to prevent then the disease. So rather than treating the disease, which we will do to start with, we want to prevent it in future generations.
It's remarkable. It's real sci-fi stuff.
This is the ounce of prevention, as opposed to the pound of cure.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
We should come to you now because, actually tell us what the Shabra Charity Foundation is all about, because this is very, very, very dear to your heart.
Well, thank you so much. Shabra Charity Foundation has donated, has built schools in Nigeria and in Kenya, but Oliver is really the one we have to thank and remember him. And I'm doing it in his memory because he promised Joe Gavin that what do you want out of Shabra Charity? And he says, whatever you want, you'll get it.
Tell us a little bit about Oliver for people at home who mightn't be familiar with who you're talking about.
Oliver is a very colourful, characteristic character at racing. It was always up Monaghan.
This is Oliver Brady, by the way.
Oliver Brady,
He
yeah.
would be very well known in the Midlands and North Midlands and in racing circles.
Yeah.
Very much so. Like, I remember going to Cheltenham and he took over the ring with his jersey of up Monaghan. But on the other side of it, he was a very, very humble and a very generous person. He'd do anything for anybody. So he had lost his eyesight. He gave the machines. He had lost quadruple bypass, diabetic, cancer, and in the end, he was taken away by prostate cancer and heart illness, and where Joe Gavin actually had a defibrillator put in. But he always wanted to give. If he met you, he said, "Sinead, what can I give you?" And that's it. But I just feel that in his memory, and that when in his last journey in the church, it was his wish, and I said I'd fulfill it. Needless to say, I did say it, but I didn't know how I would achieve it, because the kit that we are providing, sequencing equipment, is 750,000. And we started raising that 2.5 years ago. I was fortunate, and I think that Oliver sent Ian and Nevin Maguire as patrons, and Jane Trippi-Packle. And really, you know, it's miraculous. I just don't believe it, how we've achieved it. We've done everything. And this is where we are. But Oliver is really the one that has left a legacy. And I think what happens in the future with this medication, or what Peter has just explained, I sincerely hope that it saves many, many, many lives.
I'm sure it will, Rita. I think you do yourself a slight disservice. I think you've done quite a lot of work as well. I know you're far too humble to accept that, but I think you have, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk to Ian about football, shouldn't we? Well, we
I'm
haven't.
not sure how much time we have.
Aidan's never going to forgive me if we don't ask him something about football.
Well, Liverpool fans want to know, what are you going to do about the back four?
Well, I think we're scoring goals, aren't we? So we've got to stop them going in now. It's difficult because you know, it's getting to know the right team which you want to play. You know,
You
and,
must have been throwing things at the telly the other night.
I was at the game anyway. So but, yeah, I think first half on Wednesday they would beat anyone in the world. Second half, no, they could have lost it. So that's unpredictable they are at the moment. So what we've got to do is, yeah, we're great going forward, but we've got to stop these goals going in now.
Well, I suppose, look, whatever else happens, it's exciting back in Anfield again, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, without doubt. I think
Liverpool
they're
needs
good
to be
to
at the
watch.
top
Yeah.
of the game, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Listen, thank you very much indeed. Rita, remarkable work, and we wish
Absolutely.
you all the very best. I suspect that you're going to be, I'm not sure you're going to have the capacity to deal with all of the people applying to be tested, but we wish you well.
Thank you very much, one and all.